I saw this picture and I honestly thought that it belongs in a museum. Like, we should not deprive our grandchildren from the knowledge of the time period that we lived in. Because, like, with this picture, you encompass the ideology of the West. You encompass our way of life perfectly. I don't know who this lady is. I don't know who advised her for doing this. I don't know, like, at what point did she not look at the picture and not notice that every aspect of it works against her? But yet, here we are. I mean, again, from an artistic style, like, what do you have? You have this massive, gorgeous, perfectly healthy looking woman on a gigantic poster. And on the lower left, you have this petty individual, like very small and tiny in comparison, showing their grievance over, again, like some pettiness that cannot even begin to be described. Like, they're upset that someone hired a lady to do a commercial. And she is so vindictive. She is so outraged over the existence of the person, right? Like, not over something that they did, but just like because this thing exists, upsets this lady. And then this lady had to see the picture, right? Like, she had to see the photo and still decided that this is a good look. This is something that she should show to the public. And as you can see, it got 19.4 million views. Now, what I find also interesting is that the commercial itself is using leftist arguments. And the left is absolutely livid. Because here's the thing. Like, for those of you that are old enough and remember 2016, that is when the fat acceptance movement became a thing. If you look at society now and you're walking down the street and you see obese people, like not fat people, but like morbidly obese, right? Notice how many of them there are, and then like look at some pictures from the 90s or the 80s. And you realize, well, hold on a little bit. Like, why wasn't that back then? Like, why are people so overweight today? And then you realize, well, it must be the food, right? It must be the food. Because, like, you have people from Europe that aren't morbidly obese. They all look like Sweetie Sweeney. And they go to the United States. They don't change their lifestyle. They don't do anything different. But, like, they become morbidly obese. And so, like, something is happening. That there is some legislation in the government that is sabotaging the health of Americans. But unfortunately, you can't have that conversation. Because every time you do, you get the fat acceptance movement. And they're trying to tell you that fat is beautiful. And if fat was beautiful, you wouldn't get this. It would be the opposite, right? Like, you'd have this lady on the picture. And you'd have Sydney Sweeney showing the middle finger to her. If fat was beautiful. But the reality is, like, beauty isn't societally engineered. It's just hardwired in people's brains. And the left knew this, right? Like, they knew that you can't pray the gay away. Because it must be hardwired. And it's the same thing with straight sexuality. It's like, people just happen to like this. You can't pray it away. You can't like enforce people to like this body type and to hate this. It just doesn't work. Now, the interesting thing is when the fat acceptance movement came about, they were saying that it's not fair to ask people to work out because it's their genes. It's their genes that make them this way. So you have individuals that are morbidly obese because of genetical issues. And that was the cope. And the interesting thing is, like, yeah, it is possible that for some people, they may have, like, certain genetical illnesses. They may have thyroid problems. They may have diabetes. Sure, like, it is possible that certain people are obese because of the genes. But then why is it that when you look back in time and you go to the 40s and the 20s, like, you see most people being fit? Right? Like, do we not get our genes from the people back then? But still, the argument, as I mentioned, was that the genes are the issue, right? And here you have a person that says, well, yeah, I got good genes. That's why I look this good. And there are Nazi, my God, Nazi, how can you use such an argument? Nazi. It's the fat acceptance movement argument. Like, literally, they created the argument that in order to be healthy, you need to have good genes. And then a gene company is literally using your argument and you're freaking out. Why is that? And can anyone explain to me why are they upset about listening to their own arguments applied to a different context? There is now a meme on the internet. It's called Nazi boobs, right? So like small breasts, those are progressive breasts, right? And then as the breasts go bigger and bigger and they reach Sydney Sweeney size, those are Nazi tits. These people are ridiculous, but what's more interestingly is why they're ridiculous. Like, you have a sea of diversity, right? You got a sea of commercials that promote and champion diversity. Like, especially when you go to London, you notice that every single commercial usually has a white woman and a black man. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, but like when you see that every single one has the exact same concept, like you gotta wonder, like who's interested in promoting this and only this, right? Like you should see a wide array of commercial. You should see some Asian people. You should see like at least once. You should see maybe a white guy with a black woman. It's always like if you're in London, seriously, just look at that, And they call you racist for pointing it out. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, I'm not calling out the commercial. I'm calling out the marketing team and wondering, like, why are they not allowed to present anything else? Because, like, at some point, when it's so uniform, you gotta wonder, it's like, what would happen if they did promote something else? And the answer is, this is what would happen. And the next question is, why? Why would this happen? And I think it's because they feel threatened. And they feel threatened because they notice that this actually sells, and this is what people are interested in. And authoritarians aren't interested in allowing people to think for themselves. They're interested in control. They're interested in being in a position where they get to tell you what you want. And that is making them horny. Unironically, like the ability to tell people what commercial they should see is so fucking petty that the only explanation why they do it is because it turns them on. And so, like, makes the average Joe wonder. It's like, well, hold on a little bit. So you're saying that in society, in order to be viewed as a good person, I need to join the mental asylum? Like, no, let's just delegitimize the mental asylum. And this is why a lot of people are now supporting these types of ads. It's not because, like, they need to see them. Like, a lot of people are married. They get to see their wives, But, like, the very fact that you deplatform the Karens, the very fact that you deplatform the moral busybodies is cathartic. Because they don't need to have this level of power. They're not producing anything of value, right? Like, the very fact that we need to pretend as a society that they're more important than the freedom and liberty of others and the freedom of liberty to have this ad is ridiculous, right? Like, they're normalizing authoritarianism. They're normalizing the idea that if you have a product, you can't actually advertise it in any way you want. You can't hire Belle Delphine to advertise your product because it will sell. Because you're afraid of an army of Karens giving you bad PR on social media. And people are basically saying, enough. Even if I don't care about the genes, I will support them just because these individuals should not have any more authority and any more power over society. So let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.